Okay, so here we are back in designer land, and as you know, while we had our engineering hats over there on working on the interior ribs and bosses, over here in design land, we were still working away. And as it turns out, we've come up with a new design concept that we think is way better than the others. We want to cover this entire top surface with buttons. We just think that's a really cool, different idea, something that's not really out there right now, and that's the direction we want to take this. Now, fortunately, because we're working in external files, we were able to keep working on this while engineering was simultaneously working on those internals, all referencing this one beautiful master model. And that is the important thing that I'm going to keep, broken record, keep driving that home. If you use effective external master models, then you can work with as many people as you want at the same time, all in different files without stepping on each other's toes. But here we are in Sprint 4, and we're ready to do the next step, which is to kind of finalize this design, right? We want to take this to release candidate 1. That means we'll be getting to finalized geometry, including graphics and everything else. And it turns out we've down selected. We know that this is our design. So actually, here in our assembly, the next thing to do is delete out these older components. We're not deleting them off our hard drive. We're just deleting them from this assembly because we know we're not going to use them. And then let's go here to first of all, let's find our mate that's holding this guy in place and delete that. Also, we're not going to need our grid of points anymore, so I can delete that sketch for the grid of objects. And finally, let's put a mate between our desired final design, or at least this is kind of the template for it, and the origin, so we'll know that that's in the right spot. Okay, so now I'll just go ahead and save this. So we'll just save all right here. And we're ready to start detailing this out. Now, this model that we built, the ID model that we built here, is really just for visualization. As you know, this is all solid. If we look at this in cross-section, these are just big solid chunks of material, and none of these details really work. Nothing is in draft, and for that matter, we're just going to need to redo this. These all need to be separate files for everything in order to have this be a final design. So all that is a long way of saying that this is not going to be our final part. This is actually now just going to operate the same way that Atom 002 did earlier on, which, by the way, we don't need anymore. We can delete Atom 002 from here as well. Because all we need is this as kind of a backdrop, just something to keep in mind as we're building our final geometry. Now, the engineers can't get to work until we add some geometry to the master model, showing them where these buttons need to be and where the split line will be for our battery door. And so that's going to be our first order of business. Let's do that now.